Hey guys, Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors. Good morning. A little bit of a wet day here. Look, we at Profit for Contractors really help contractors get their profits to pay for the freedom. Now, how the heck do you go about doing that? You got to put systems in place. You got to put the right tools in place. You got to get the right team to back you, and you got to have the right mindset for knowing where you're going. So here at Profit for Contractors, we're all about helping you get more profits. And that enables you to get your profits to pay for your freedom, pay for your guys, pay for your systems, pay for your vacations, pay to hire people so that they can do things that you don't want to do. So let's get into this question. When was the last time you looked at your financials? That's a big question. Now, be honest with yourself. When was the last time you looked at your financials? The reality is, guys, you have to look at your financials, and you have to look at them at a regular basis. Typically, minimum, you want to be looking at your financials at least, the second week of the month, so you can look back at the previous month to know what's going on. Look, if you don't look at your financials, you are literally driving your business blindfolded, okay? You have to be looking at what are the key KPIs, key performance indicators, just like the dashboard in your car, and there's many of them, that drive your business, right? If you're not looking at your financials to know whether or not you're progressing regarding sales, whether or not you're progressing regarding profits, then you will always, maybe this relates to you, maybe you can relate to this, is you just don't know where you're at. You find that you're working so hard and you're not getting the results you want. So guys, you've got to look at your key performance indicators, and one of the greatest areas to get that dashboard, to get those key performance indicators, is from your financials. Now, your financials aren't going to give you everything, but they're a good baseline. So let's get into the top 3 things that you want to look at your financials for, okay? So we're just going to talk about one document right now. There's many documents, reports that you can get generated that qualify as a financial report, but the one we're going to talk about today is your profit and loss statement. Now, some people call it an income statement. We at Profit for Contractors call it a profit and loss statement. Now, why is that? Because words have mental meaning, right? If you just call something an income statement, you're not going to be looking at your profit and loss statement from the right perspective, right? You're not going to be looking at it from a profit and loss standpoint, okay? So, number one, you want to look at your profit and loss statement. You want to look at it frequently enough, minimum monthly. And when you look at that, here's the thing. So many contractors we talk to, I go, so, what are some of the goals that you want? Oh, I want to hit $500,000 in sales, or $1 million in sales, or $5 million in sales. And I hear this, sales all the time. You know what's interesting? I really don't care that much about sales. I'll tell you what I care about, and what you should be caring about is profits, guys, okay? Sales is one thing. Profits is the key, okay? How many people do we engage with where they come to us and they say, man, my sales have gone up. My sales have increased by 20%, 50%, especially during this time of the year, during a peak season, whether it's, the summertime or spring, when it's easier to do construction. And they tell me that they have less money in the bank than they've ever had before. Like, think about that, guys. Like, why is that? That's really the smart question to be asking. Like, why is that? Well, you're not going to be able to get the answers to that unless you look at the right data points. And looking at your profit and loss statement is one of the key areas to look at. So when you're looking at your profit and loss statement, okay, so that's the document we got to look at. We're going to talk about today. The first thing that you want to do when you print that out is you want to make sure that you print it out within certain windows of time, okay? So one of the windows of time you want to look at, especially in the contracting world, and a lot of people that aren't experts in this space, they won't get this, okay? And then you'll be looking at a profit and loss statement the wrong way. Here, let me prove my point. The first report you want to generate is a report that's a 12-month profit and loss statement. And the reason for that, everybody, the reason you need to do that versus just printing off 1 month and start looking at that out of the gate is because and I know, you could have purchased material, a ton of material, like last month. and yet you could have gotten all that income coming in on the next month. Well, if you produce that profit and loss statement, it's going to show, that you've made a ton of profit. And the problem with that is that it's an unrealistic gauge of where your business is at, okay? The opposite could be true as well, right? You could be thinking, in that month that you paid a ton of material, but you didn't collect any revenue, you could be looking at it going, oh my God, I'm losing my shirt, I'm gonna go bankrupt. When in reality, it's just that cycle in the business. So, number one, got a bit of the sniffles here. Number one, when you're looking at that statement, is you want to look at it in a big enough period of time. Now, if you're struggling to get, enough data, if you've only got 6 months worth of data, then print off a 6-month profit and loss statement. Now, when you print that off, get your bookkeeper to print it off. If you don't know how, you definitely want to learn how to do that. We can show you how to do that, but you want to make sure that you print it off so that in that window of time, whether it's 12 months or 6 months, that you're comparing month on month on month, and that you're comparing it and printing it off against month on month. And it's a simple thing, guys, a simple little couple of boxes to check off in QuickBooks. It's typically, most people use that software, or in the software that you use, to do a comparison of percentage of change against the previous month. Now, why do you want to do that? Well, you want to do that so you can see different cycles, right? Different trends in your business. And if you're able to print off this 12-month profit and loss statement, you're going to see, in a lot of cases, what we see with contractors, you start to see different seasonality, just like we have winter, spring, fall, right? Summer, right? 4 different seasons. There tends to be at least 2, sometimes 3 seasons in the world of a contractor. So maybe that's you. I can almost guarantee that you've got a season where there's peaks, valleys. Some people's going to be higher, some people's going to be lower, okay? So print it off. So number 2 is print it off within a period of time that's going to give you data points that are workable, are usable, okay? That are not going to show these massive spikes because it's not accounting for material that's been paid for or money that's come in, okay? So that's that. Next thing that you want to do, guys, you've got to do this. You got to determine what your percentages are from a gross profit percentage and a net profit percentage. Now, the reason that we want to do that is because at a gross profit percentage, guys, which is really the gross profit, and I'm not talking about profit as in dollar sign, I'm talking gross profit percentage. You want to look at the gross profit percentage because when you go to quote a job, your gross profit percentage should be very, very close, ideally better than the margins that you put on average on your quotes. If it's not, then that's a primary indicator. And this is why you got to look at your financials, guys. It's a primary indicator. And all you champion CEOs out there, I'm going to be putting together and we've already got lots of training on this, but we're going to be taking it to the next level to get you guys some financial mastery. It's going to be amazing. But on this point, this is an ideal area in your profit and loss statement to identify whether or not you are in line with what you've been quoting. As far as, are you way off track? Are you way below? It'd be great if you're way better. But in most cases, then not, like 99.9%. Most contractors have this freaking aha moment where it's like, oh my God, my average gross profit percentage is way lower than what I've been quoting. What's been going on? And see, this is what the financials allow us to do. They allow us to ask ourselves really smart questions so that we can start getting some really smart answers. Now, it might be off because maybe you quoted it wrong. Maybe the jobs are being ran inefficiently. Maybe it's because we let in a Class D deadbeat or a Class C can't deal with client and their communications with us are terrible, or they're putting change orders through and we don't have the right systems to track them. Guys, there's hundreds of reasons, but you've got to identify whether or not you're on or off track. Now, with that being said, your net profit percentage, okay, is really how much percentage are you making after all the expenses, including material and labor, is paid for. And why is that so important? That's so critical, guys, because that is your bottom line. That's the money, okay, that is left in your hand after everything is said and done, after all the effort, after all the time that you put in. So guys, I'm not going to get into anything further than that. There's literally a dozen other things we want to pull from these financials, but that's a great starting point. So if you print off, and if you don't do this, I swear to God, you should seriously reconsider being a business owner if you're not willing to go and print off your financials on a monthly basis, okay? And I don't want to hear any excuses. If I hear, well, hey, Coach, hey, Andrew, my bookkeeper, doesn't have it up to date. We don't have accurate data. Guys, this is like the core scoreboard looking up on the wall like we're playing a game of hockey or football. And imagine we don't even have a scoreboard. And and it's not just a game, it's our life, it's our livelihood. Putting food on the table is affected by this. Our ability to have our profits pay for our freedom is affected by this. Guys, you got to be looking at the dashboard. And you got to get addicted to it, okay? The more that you can focus in on that, the better. Because if your bottom line net profit is not where you need it to be, well, then you're working, in a lot of contractors, you might be this, you're working for less than nothing. So I'd love you to comment below what your thoughts are on this. And here's some key questions, okay? I'm going to call this thinking time, all right? Thinking time questions. This is, again, Andrew Houston here with Tradie Tips in the Truck. And I want you to ask yourself this question. So I know you're going to go print off that profit and loss statement, right? Yep, you're going to do it. And I want you to ask this question. When you look at it, is it, number one, is it the story, is it the type of story that you would want to read? So you're going to go to the bottom, you're going to look at it, you're going to look at your net profit, okay, how much money you're making or you're not making. You're going to look at your gross profit, how much money you're making or you're not making on the jobs. You're going to look at these percentages. And again, if you don't know how, you need to learn how to do them. And you want to ask yourself this very first question. What is the story that I'm seeing? Is it a great story, an okay story, a bad story, or like a horrific story? Okay? Is it really, really bad? Question number 2. What are the 3 to 5 things that can get these numbers to change in my contracting business to give me the story that I want? Okay, it's number 2 question. Number 3 question. What are, what is the first place, what is the first place that we are going to focus in on to identify, the highest problem point that we can focus in on, depending upon what in the business cycle, from maybe it's at the front end of filtering fast, maybe it's quoting, maybe it's at the phase of pre-starting the job, or maybe it's running the job, or maybe it's finishing the job, right? All these different phases that we got to look at. Where is the biggest cracks that are causing us not to get the story we want, so we can focus in on that one thing and get it nailed? So guys, those are the 3 questions you want to ask yourself, okay? Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors with Tradie Tips in your Truck. And again, guys, we are all about using our mastery, our insights as master, strategists here at Profit for Contractors. We're getting you guys to become true champion CEOs, to get your business such that its profits pay for your freedom, guys. Imagine what it would be like if you could increase that bottom line by 5%, 10%, okay? And it is so possible, guys. Literally, it is so possible for you to take your business to the next level. I mean, imagine what would a 10+% increase on your bottom line be? And you might be like, there's no way, Andrew, I can increase my bottom line net profit by 10%. Really? Well, let me put this out to you. Could you improve your business? Jonathan says, sell drugs and drywall, go commercial, quit working for friends. Yeah, for sure, Jonathan. Absolutely, right? Friends are, you want to talk about Class D clients? And I hate to say this, Jonathan, man. I never thought about this until now. Class D client could be your friends, right? They want something for nothing. They typically don't want to pay you. And worst off, they still want you to be their buddy. That's interesting, right? Like, interesting. Now, there's times where helping out buddies is cool, but look, it's got to be a two-way street, right? Like, if you got a buddy that's a doctor, yeah, if he's going to go and treat you for free, or do an operation on you for free, okay, well, that's cool. You're going to go build, maybe a deck for him or something like that. But in most cases than not, that's not the case. Usually it's a one-way street, right, with tradies. I mean, I know me. I had a crazy experience with one of my cousins ages ago where I went and put up a 200 amp service for him. Okay, hey Al, you know, I put up a 200 amp service for the guy, and like he didn't want to pay me what the cost was just for the material. Like seriously, right? So anyways, interesting times, right guys? So look, make sure you look at your financials. Jonathan, what of this resonated with you? Okay, I want you to know that. Al, what of this resonated with you? Like, guys, when was the last time you looked at your financials? Okay, and from today's conversation, looking at your financials, we got to ask ourselves, what is the story that our financials are telling us? Right? Is it a good book, bad book, freaking horrific book? Is it looking bad? Secondly, what are the top 3 to 5 things that can help us change, you know, those financials in our business? Looking at the different areas, right? The different areas, the different phases of our contracting business, from filtering fast, quoting the job, pre-starting the job, running the job, finishing the job. I mean, there's lots of other areas, but just let's look at those areas. And what is the one area, key problem or obstacle that we're going to focus on? You might come up with 3, you might come up with 5, you might come up with 10. Don't focus on the 10. Don't focus in on the 3. Don't focus in on 2. What's the one that we're going to focus in on, that we're going to get the freaking thing done, that we have the resources to do, that we're able to take action on, and move the dials, right? And those dials right now we're talking about today are the dials on the profit and loss statement. Okay, Jonathan, what'd you get out of this, my man? Al, how about you? Jonathan says, keep buying equipment and apartment houses if my bank accounts. I'm not understanding what where you're coming from with that, Jonathan. Hopefully you're getting some insights from today. Anyways, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this baby up. Andrew Houston here from Profit for Contractors. And look, it's all about, guys, moving the dials. It's all about increasing your profits. It's all about getting your business to run and give you the control, the freedom, and the wealth that you want. It's going to be different for everybody, but that's really why we became entrepreneurs, right? Not to have our business run us, but have us run the business. All right, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Ciao.